Have you ever looked at your home and wondered if it could do more than just cost you money every month? For most Americans, housing is the single biggest expense in their lives. We're told that buying a home is the ultimate financial milestone, the American dream. But what if your home could become something more than just a place to live? What if it could become a powerful tool for building income, flexibility, and long-term wealth? In today's video, we're going to explore smart, practical strategies to turn your home into an income-producing asset. Whether you want to reduce your living expenses, build passive income, or take your first step into real estate investing, there are real options available, many of which are more accessible than you might think. Before we dive in, a quick note: I'm not a financial advisor or personal finance expert. I'm simply sharing what I've learned over the years through life experience, research, and a lot of reading about money and investing. For many of us in the American community, buying a home is seen as a major milestone of success. However, while the mortgage usually gets all the attention, the real cost of homeownership goes far beyond the monthly payment. There's a common phrase many renters hear: "You're throwing money away on rent." It's true that rent doesn't build equity in a property itself, but the decision between renting and buying is far more complex than that. The reality is that the hidden costs of owning a home can catch new homeowners off guard and quickly inflate a budget. It's crucial to understand that while every mortgage payment builds equity, other expenses don't pay you back in the same way. So let's demystify this. Let's start with the unavoidable costs, which are three: property taxes, fees, like homeowners association dues, or HOA, and homeowners insurance. Property taxes alone, set by your city or county based on your home's value, can easily add up to hundreds or even thousands of dollars per year. These are fixed costs that must be included in any calculation. Then come the variable and unpredictable costs: routine maintenance, unexpected repairs, like a roof or HVAC system. Pest control, such as termites, and lawn and landscaping care. Unlike renting, where a simple phone call shifts responsibility to the landlord, here, the bill and the work are entirely yours. Now, let's shift perspective a bit. It's undeniable that your primary home is an investment. But we also need to talk about another type of real estate investment: rental properties. For many retirees and financial independence seekers, the FIRE movement. Rental real estate can be an attractive asset class. It offers the potential for relatively stable passive income that can keep up with inflation, something very different from stock market volatility or the lower yields of bonds. That steady income, without needing to sell the asset, which is naturally illiquid, can be a powerful shield against sequence of returns risk in retirement. But here's the crucial point. Success in this area isn't just about finding the perfect property or mastering strategies. The foundation of any successful real estate journey begins with an internal shift: your financial mindset. Your money mindset is the set of beliefs and attitudes, often formed in childhood, that quietly influence every decision you make. If you see money as a scarce resource, your choices will be guided by fear and preservation. On the other hand, if you start seeing it as a tool that can be multiplied through strategy, you open yourself up to taking calculated risks that can generate major long-term rewards. For many Americans, their home is the largest asset they own, and market appreciation combined with consistent mortgage payments may have already built significant equity. The key to moving forward is rewiring that thinking to take advantage of opportunities that others miss because of fear. I completely understand that knot in your stomach: what if everything goes wrong? But the truth is that once you take action and acquire a property, you often discover that most of your fears were just constructions of your mind. Real concerns do exist, of course, but most of the problems we anticipate never actually happen. The good news? You don't have to learn only from your own mistakes. Today, there's an enormous amount of free information online so you can learn and avoid the expensive traps others, myself included, have already fallen into. To wrap up this chapter, let's reflect. Owning the home you live in is definitely an investment because it saves the rent you would otherwise pay, a kind of tax-free dividend in kind. In my personal calculations, I don't even assume massive home appreciation, I simply assume it keeps up with inflation, supported by proper maintenance. Even so, a home can be an incredible investment. And if one day you decide to move, a big question appears: should you sell or rent your current home? Both options have pros and cons. Selling gives you a lump sum of capital. Renting provides steady monthly income and allows you to keep building equity, but it also means becoming a landlord. This decision shouldn't be taken lightly. You must run the numbers. Will the rental income cover the mortgage, taxes, maintenance, and still leave a margin? Do you have the time, skills, and network, like contractors, to manage the property, or will you need to hire a property manager? Evaluating these scenarios objectively is the practical application of the right mindset, using information and calculation to make decisions that expand, not limit, your financial possibilities. Imagine turning your current home into a source of passive income while you move to a place with a lower cost of living. This strategy, what we can call a strategic move, allows your real estate equity to work for you, generating steady returns while you focus on other goals. For many U.S. investors, residential rental properties are one of the most reliable ways to build long-term wealth. Unlike the volatility of the stock market, the demand for housing tends to remain constant, and property values generally trend upward over time, even after cyclical downturns. It's essential to view your home as a long-term investment. If you bought when mortgage rates were high, remember that refinancing may be possible when rates drop, improving your cash flow. What makes this investment so attractive is the double advantage: you earn regular cash flow from rent while property appreciation quietly builds your equity. Together, these create a level of financial stability that few other asset classes can offer. There are several ways to structure this passive income. You can choose traditional long-term rentals, which offer stability and lower turnover. In dynamic urban markets, co-living models, or splitting the property into smaller units can generate higher monthly returns. Short-term rentals for travelers can be attractive in tourist areas, offering higher seasonal income but requiring more active management. If you're just starting out, residential real estate is generally the most accessible and lower-risk option compared to commercial property. Demand is more predictable, and the cost of entry is typically lower. Now let's talk about the practical benefits of this strategy. First, it turns your mortgage into a productive asset. Your tenant is effectively paying the monthly payment, helping grow your equity in the property. Second, you gain access to significant tax advantages. As a rental property owner, many expenses become deductible: mortgage interest, property taxes, maintenance costs, repairs, and, crucially, depreciation. This can substantially reduce the tax burden on your rental income. A critical point to consider is capital gains tax. In the U.S., if you sell your primary residence, the home you lived in for at least 2 of the last 5 years, you may exclude up to $250,000 in profit, $500,000 for married couples. If you rent your home for too long, it can lose this status. So if you plan to return or sell in the medium term, a common strategy is to rent it for a limited period, for example, up to 3 years, before selling to remain eligible for this tax exclusion. Always consult a tax professional to plan your specific situation. This strategy is especially smart in a market like the current one, where housing supply, particularly for first-time buyers, remains tight, supporting property appreciation and strong rental demand. For millennials, who often prioritize mobility, renting a home can be more appealing than buying, further strengthening the rental market. However, it's important to go beyond the initial excitement and consider the practical realities. Being a landlord comes with responsibility. You'll need to handle property management, maintenance, tenant screening, and occasional problems. Ask yourself, do you have basic repair skills or a reliable network of service providers? Are you prepared for a late-night call about a leak? If the answer is no, you should include the cost of a property management company in your plan. Typically a percentage of the rent. Finally, reflect on the personal and emotional side. For many people, homeownership represents the American dream, a source of pride and security. But life changes, like a new job opportunity in another city, can force a decision. Renting your home instead of selling creates a bridge. It preserves your asset, generates income, and keeps the door open for a possible return, without the costs and stress of buying again in the future. In short, the rent and move cheaper strategy can be a powerful financial move. It turns a static asset into an income generator, leverages tax advantages, and keeps you in the real estate game. The key is to analyze the numbers objectively, understand the responsibilities of being a landlord, and align the decision with your life goals and risk tolerance. Quick note, I'm not a personal finance expert or financial professional. What I share comes from my own life experience, reading, and research on these topics. There comes a point in life when the home that once felt perfect can start to feel too big. If the kids have moved out, retirement is approaching, or you're simply looking for a simpler life with less maintenance, downsizing your home can be one of the smartest financial and lifestyle strategies you can adopt. Far from being a sacrifice, downsizing is a powerful opportunity to reassess your priorities and redesign your living space around what truly matters to you today. A smaller home doesn't mean less comfort or style, it means efficiency, freedom, and a chance to simplify both your physical space and your finances. Let's start with the concrete financial benefits, which are significant for any US-based plan. A smaller home usually means a smaller mortgage, or even the possibility of buying outright using the profit from selling your larger home, lower property taxes, reduced utility bills, electricity, water, gas, and dramatically lower maintenance costs. This influx of capital and reduction in monthly expenses can free up substantial resources. That money can be redirected to strengthen your retirement, into accounts like a 401k or IRA, fund travel, invest, or simply provide much greater financial peace of mind. But the benefits go far beyond money. A smaller space takes less time to clean and maintain, freeing up precious hours in your week for hobbies, family, friends, or simply rest. It naturally encourages more mindful consumption. You think twice before bringing something new into your home, which leads to less clutter and a smaller environmental footprint. For many people, this intentional simplicity results in a real sense of relief and freedom. Of course, this decision isn't purely rational. There's a strong emotional component. Leaving a home full of memories can bring feelings of grief and nostalgia. The key to navigating this is to start early and focus on the future. Begin a gradual decluttering process, separating what's essential, what holds genuine sentimental value, and what can be donated, sold, or discarded. See this not as a loss, but as a curation of what truly contributes to your next chapter. When choosing your new home, think carefully about your current and future needs. Look for properties that require minimal upfront repairs. Consider location. Proximity to public transportation, healthcare, family, and entertainment may be more valuable than extra square footage. Think about the layout. A single-story home may be more practical in the long run. And decide whether a small garden or space for occasional guests is important to you. It's helpful to contrast this strategy with its opposite, upsizing, or moving to a larger home. This is usually driven by a growing family, the need for a dedicated home office, or the desire for more space for entertaining and hobbies. While downsizing prioritizes financial efficiency and freedom, upsizing is an investment in space and lifestyle, naturally accompanied by higher ongoing costs. In short, downsizing is much more than simply moving to a smaller property. It's a strategic life and financial planning tool. It allows you to convert a locked-up asset, excess space, into liquidity and reduce your fixed cost of living. The result is a more manageable daily life, less financial stress, and more energy to focus on the experiences and people who truly enrich your life. For anyone seeking a smoother transition into retirement, or simply a lighter, more intentional fresh start, downsizing may be one of the most transformative steps you can take. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying this video and want more content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's working toward financial independence. Imagine living in a place where your tenants pay most, or even all, of your mortgage. That's the essence of house hacking, a powerful and accessible financial strategy that turns your primary residence into an income-generating asset. It's a smart way to take your first step into real estate investing, especially in the US, where financing programs like FHA loans allow you to buy a property with up to 4 units with as little as 3.5% down. Traditionally, classic house hacking involves buying a small multifamily property, like a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, living in one unit and renting out the others. The rental income covers a significant portion of your monthly payment, dramatically reducing your living costs while you build equity almost for free. But creativity is the limit. You can rent out individual rooms in a larger home, convert a basement or garage into an independent suite, an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, or even buy, renovate, and resell properties while living in them. The financial benefits are profound. First, you reduce your biggest monthly expense, housing, allowing you to save and invest far more aggressively. Second, you begin building a track record as a landlord, learning hands-on about property management, tenant screening, and maintenance. Third, and crucially, you gain access to the tax advantages of investment real estate. A proportional share of mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, repairs, and especially depreciation can become deductible from your taxable income. Always consult a CPA to optimize your situation. This strategy offers a unique entry point. Instead of saving for years to buy a separate investment property, you use low down payment residential financing programs to acquire your first asset. Over time, the equity you build and the experience you gain can become the launchpad for expanding your portfolio. However, house hacking requires the right mindset and willingness. You'll be sharing your space or living very close to your tenants. Privacy is reduced. You also take on all the responsibilities of a landlord, from late-night maintenance calls to the delicate process of screening reliable tenants. It's work that requires time and patience. To get started successfully, follow these steps. 1. Prepare your finances. Focus on improving your credit score and saving for a down payment and closing costs. A higher credit score secures better interest rates. 2. Get pre-approved. Know exactly how much you can finance. Talk to your bank or a mortgage broker about your house hacking plans, as this affects loan evaluation. 3. Find the right agent and property. Work with a realtor who understands the strategy. Location is everything. Look for neighborhoods with strong rental demand. Analyze the numbers carefully. Will the potential rental income cover the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance reserves? 4. Purchase and transition. After closing, prepare the units for rent. Create a strict tenant screening process, including credit checks, income verification, and references. 5. Move in and manage. Step into your new role. Be a good neighbor and a professional manager. Maintaining the property and respecting contracts is essential for long-term success. In short, house hacking is more than a tactic to reduce expenses. It's a wealth accelerator and a hands-on investment education. It allows you to use the financial system to your advantage, turning a passive expense into an active asset. For young professionals, couples, or anyone willing to trade a bit of convenience for a major financial leap, this strategy can be one of the fastest paths to financial independence and building a strong real estate portfolio. For many beginner investors in the US, the world of rental real estate can feel like an ocean of opportunity, but also one filled with intimidating risks. The wisest strategy, especially when you're starting out, is not to rush to buy as many properties as possible. It's the exact opposite. Adopt a slow, methodical, and educated approach. Buying rentals slowly is the philosophy of building a solid and sustainable portfolio where each property is a carefully chosen piece, minimizing costly mistakes and maximizing learning. The biggest mistake beginners make is letting excitement override analysis. Real estate is an excellent long-term wealth builder, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. Skipping steps, ignoring research, or underestimating costs can turn the dream of passive income into a financial nightmare. The key to success is patience and disciplined planning. The first step isn't browsing property listings, it's looking inward. You need to clearly define your goals. Are you seeking supplemental monthly income? Building wealth for retirement? Or diversifying beyond the stock market? Your goal will determine the type of property and financing strategy you choose. Next, take a realistic financial inventory. Determine your budget not only for the down payment, but also for closing costs, an initial repair reserve, and an emergency fund for the property. Remember, your first investment should never compromise your personal financial security. Your time horizon is also crucial. Real estate is not a liquid investment. You should be prepared to hold it for several years to benefit from appreciation and mortgage paydown. With your goals and finances clear, the search for the right property begins. And here, one principle is absolute: location is everything. Don't fall in love with a beautiful house on a bad street. Your research must dive into the local market. Rental demand: is the area popular with families, young professionals, or students? What is the vacancy rate? Economic fundamentals: are there stable jobs nearby? Is the population growing? Convenience: is the property close to public transportation, schools, parks, and shopping? Neighborhood factors: research safety, appreciation trends, and HOA rules that may restrict rentals. Now comes the most critical part, where many people stumble: accurately calculating all costs. The purchase price is only the beginning. You must account for monthly operating costs, mortgage, property taxes, insurance, utilities, if included, and a monthly maintenance reserve, often around 1% of the property value per year. Acquisition costs, loan fees, inspection, appraisal, and closing costs. The cost of time or money. Will you manage the property yourself? If not, include 8 to 12% of the rent for property management. The golden rule is simple: your expected rent must exceed the total of these costs, generating positive cash flow from the start. If the numbers don't work, it's not an investment, it's a liability in disguise. Finally, let go of the search for the perfect property. It doesn't exist. Waiting for a flawless home in the ideal neighborhood at the lowest market price leads to paralysis. Instead, look for a property that is good enough and meets your financial criteria. A home that needs minor cosmetic repairs in a strong location is a far better investment than a perfect house in a declining area. The strategy of buying rentals slowly is about building confidence and wealth with each acquisition. Apply the lessons from your first property to the second. Use the equity you build over time as leverage for the next step, always with patience and careful calculation. This grounded approach turns real estate investing from a minefield into a clear and predictable path toward long-term wealth. Your first and most important purchase isn't a property, it's knowledge. Invest heavily in it. And this brings us to the bigger picture. Turning your home into income isn't about one single strategy. It's about choosing the path that fits your life stage, your goals, and your risk tolerance. Whether you rent your home and move cheaper, downsize, house hack, or slowly build a rental portfolio, the common thread is intentionality and long-term thinking. Start small. Run the numbers. Keep learning. And remember, progress in real estate, just like wealth itself, is built step by step. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to take control of their financial future. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.